everybody. Happy Saturday. I almost forgot what day it was. Hey,
Saturday.
hey, Krista, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Long time no see. It's been a couple weeks since you had
Yeah.
the conference in Alabama.
Alabama and then family stuff last weekend. And
Yeah,
yeah.
Father's Day. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to have you back. Good to have you
Glad to
back.
be here.
I know everybody's tired of seeing just me.
Well, I don't know about that. They're probably like, oh, damn, she's back.
But hey, we got a great show for you tonight. Harley Owens from Bigfoot Reports and Data is coming on here in just a few minutes. A lot of great stuff, a lot of great Bigfoot encounters that he has. He sent me a ton of pictures
Yeah.
and some really cool audio. So we're going to get to that here in a few minutes. Just a reminder that if you guys have any encounter stories that you want to share with us, drop me an email, Paranormal Among Us 72 at gmail.com, and I can read them on the air or have you on as a guest. So
Yeah. Sounds good.
yeah. So let's bring up Harley because I want to. Here we go. Hey Harley, how you doing?
His mute is on.
You're muted.
Muted. Hi.
There you go.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing today, Harley? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Just went and
Good.
picked up my stepdaughters a little bit ago. They were out with their grandparents in Middle Tennessee, so we've got them back home, and they're all excited and running around. So they've been gone for a week and a half. So
Oh, wow.
Mom and
Oh,
Dad's
boy.
had a little break from them.
Yeah.
I remember those days when my kids were young.
Send
Get away
them off,
for a little bit. Yeah. Send them off.
Yep.
Yep.
to grandma and grandpa's house, and things are quiet, and yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Harley, yeah, I appreciate you coming in here today. Let's kind of get started. How did you get into doing this Bigfoot researching?
Well, it's the same way it went every time. So I was a non-believer, skeptic until 2020. I had my first encounter with one of these creatures, and it was a Bigfoot. And I managed to get a photograph of this creature. I recorded the trackway that I had found, and I recorded some vocalizations. And along with that, 3 years later, December 7th, 2023, I started my field research, and here I am now. 6-7 months later, and I went down a rabbit hole, my friend, and I love doing this, man. I love going out and hiking the wilderness and just enjoying what I do, man. And I take a lot of my inspiration from Scott Carpenter, you know, and may he rest in peace, man. And I wish I could have met him before he passed away, but now I'm just like, man, maybe he's watching over me and he's kind of guiding me on what to do here.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, you said you were a skeptic before. I mean, did you have any idea that this was in your future at all? I mean, that you would.
It was the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
You know, people talked about Bigfoot. You know, I kind of just laughed about it. And you know, I mean, I believed in the Black Panthers. The Bigfoot was the last thing on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you first seen one, then what was going through your mind? Like, because if you didn't believe, like, you know,
I knew it wasn't a bear, and I knew that it looked like a large human, like it's just a large black hair covered human, and I was like, that's a Bigfoot. I knew instantly what it was when I saw it, and then I was like, this can't be happening. It's right there, and I managed to snag the photograph of it, and then my phone was just drained of everything, and the phone I still have it to this day, and it's still messed up. So I'm just at a loss. Like it's real. I've got a picture of it, and I've got pictures and videos of the trackway, and I recorded the audio of this thing.
Wow.
So several different times, and I've come to find out that in some of the audio from the spectral analysis, there's different creatures, and they were communicating back and forth.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So before this encounter, was your phone working fine?
Oh yes, it was a brand new iPhone 8 Plus. Well, it is 8 Plus, but it's not brand new no more because I got 14 now, and so it was brand new and it worked perfectly fine. And then after that encounter, it acted up weird. It used to make this weird vibrating noise whenever I would try to like hit the home button on it, but it don't really do it as much anymore. I mean, it's still there and it vibrates, but it's very strange how that phone's acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes it'll like glitch out and like I can't get on the apps or stuff like that. But I was lucky enough that I had everything uploaded into my iCloud and it kind of all transferred over to because I got this 11 after that one, and now I've got this 14 Pro Max, so I'm all set to go now.
Any idea what could have caused that? I mean,
I believe it was the infrasound. You know, I think the infrasound effect. These creatures emit a sound that's above or below our hearing, and I believe that it can tamper with the technology, and I also believe that it can mess with the cameras and your phones and stuff as well. And you know, a lot of the images that I have, I mean, some of them aren't clear, but some of them kind of are. But you know, a lot of them are pretty decent. You know, you can tell that there's something there. One of my favorite ones is one of the images that I got, and I use the back trail camera, and I put my phone in a little slot in my backpack, and I have the camera facing behind me. I don't do like Scott did. Scott used one of them GoPros or whatever it was, but I'm going to start doing that. And when I'm panning around, I get an image of a Bigfoot, and he's crouched in behind a tree, and all I can see is his head peeping up from around the tree. You can see his big old black eyes and his nose and his conical shaped head. He's like blondish looking in color. It's crazy.
Oh wow. So getting back to the first encounter that you had back in 2020, you sent me the 3 audio files. For some reason, I can't download them on my computer, so I have them on my phone. I'm going to play them here in just a second. Where were you for this first encounter?
I was in Pound, Virginia. I worked with my dad's neighbor, who was an auctioneer of Tri-State Auction and Realty. They ran around, and we rigged sawmills. We sold all the equipment and everything, pressure washed everything. We had a big old fancy auction and all that stuff. So, I mean, right there in the heart of Appalachia, Pound, Virginia. I mean, it's right out border. It's like 15 minutes from the Kentucky line. Probably an hour and 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up, I would say.
Wow. Okay, so here is the first vocalization that you have. Let me make sure that you guys can hear it. Let me know.
Wow.
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Wow.
I still have not heard anything quite like that to this day, and it's crazy that people will be like, "That's an elk, buddy. I ain't never heard an elk that sounds like that."
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard an elk, I don't think. So what was, I mean, you kind of touched on what was going through your head when you first saw this or heard this, but I mean, oh my God, first day out researching and you get this, holy cow.
No, that wasn't researching for that. No,
first time hunting, I guess.
That was my first encounter. All the footprints, and I got the picture, and I recorded the audio. That was from my first encounter.
Wow.
I didn't start researching until December 7th. So September 23rd and 24th of 2020 was when the 23rd was the day I had the encounter, and then the 23rd that evening and the 24th that evening was when I recorded the vocalizations.
So can you take us back to like the beginning of that encounter? What was, what were you doing? The whole 9 yards, what was going around you?
Yeah. So the week prior, we went up, and me and my his name's Cameron. We went up and we were talking to the owner of this place, and we asked him what all he wanted to sell and stuff, so we could start numbering everything. And he started talking to us about a bear that was coming around and rummaging around through the trash. And we asked him if he's a pretty good sized bear. He's like, yeah, he's pretty good sized. And we were going on about all this other stuff. And he just brought this up out of the blue. He said, there's far worse things than this bear. And I'm just sitting here running through my mind, okay, there's rattlesnakes, there's copperheads, there's plenty of things like coyotes could jump up and get you. And I'm just like, well, what world's he talking about? And I joked around like a Black Panther in the back of my head. And I was like, because I've heard the stories of them growing up. And I was like, Black Panther is a good possibility. Is probably what he's talking about. And so the rest of that week, nothing happened. We had that auction getting ready for the Saturday. And my boss comes up to me after the auction's over. He said, you asked me if I want to stay up here for the next week and get people's equipment and stuff loaded that they bought, what I could get loaded without a teleboom or anything like that. I was like, yeah. I said, I will. So Sunday came around, it was raining, and I was like, well, I'm not going to sit in a hotel all day. I said, I'm going to go out here and work a little bit and get stuff ready. So I had a catalog book, and I had everybody's equipment and stuff numbered and who all bought what. So I went out there and we had a skid steer out there, and I had pallets, and I put out some pallets, and I looked through whatever everybody had bought, and I put it on the pallet. So I'm just loading it up on the pallet and moving it to where I could get it easily and loaded it for whoever comes and picks it up. So Sunday, I was walking around along the wood line because I had got done, and I'm looking around and I found a couple of tracks, and I photographed the best one. I was like, well, somebody's walking around out here barefoot. It's probably a hobo or something. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, that's a Bigfoot, because I wear a size 12, and I'm just like, that's huge. I mean, it was 14, 15 inches long. And I was like, I jokingly said Bigfoot. I was thinking in the back of my head, that's Bigfoot. So going on Monday, nothing happened. Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday, I had a guy in there about 8 o'clock because I got to the gate and he was waiting on me. So I had to unlock the gate at the top of the hill, and I drove down into this holler where this sawmill is. I had to open another gate. Then I got in there and I loaded up 3 pallets for him. And I'm just sitting there, and he leaves, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, well, I ain't got nothing better to do. So I just sat on the skid steer for the rest of the day, waiting for somebody else to show up so I can load their stuff. And about 1:30, 1:35, I go to the truck, and I get a Coca-Cola and a sandwich out of my cooler. And when I open the lid and I go to reach in it, I heard a growlish grunt. And I'm just like, well, what the hell is that? I look towards the wood line. I didn't see anything. Well, I get my sandwich out, my Coke, and I go to crack open my Coke, and I heard it again, and I seen something moving along this cliff face top, and I was like, well, what? That's that Barry's told me about, because I just seen the black. And I was like, okay. So I'm just sitting here trying to look down, and I look back up, and I look down, and when I look back up the second time, I see it leaning out looking at me, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's a Bigfoot. I mean, no, they're real. I mean, people aren't crazy. So I pulled out the phone, and I snapped the picture, and that's when it shut off, and this thing was still leaning out and looking at me, and then it just went on further up the mountain. I mean, it was 70, 75 yards away from me. It wasn't really close. I mean, I zoomed in as much as I could. I mean, and I went and I put the phone on charge because I thought it had died, and then it magically just comes back on, and I look, and the picture is there, and I'm just sitting there looking at it, trying to process everything, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's a Bigfoot. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just staying close to the truck because I don't know if this thing's going to come down off of this ridge and get me or what. So I'm just staying close to this truck. And the evening comes around, and it starts to get dusky dark, and that's when the vocalization started. And it was very close. I don't know how close, but it felt like it went right through me. And so I go back to the hotel, and I come back the next day, and I'm looking around trying to see if I can find any other signs of this thing, because it's the right thing to do. And I found the trackway from where this thing it did come down from the ridge, and there was a trailway right there, and it went into the sawmill area. So I'm just like, holy crap. And I mean, I'm 6'6", and I could not do the stride in between the tracks. I mean, I knew this thing dwarfed me. I mean, I knew it was big when I seen it the day prior, and I mean, just seeing the stride in between the tracks put a whole new perspective on it. And then that evening was this time they did the other sets of vocalizations. They were about 15 minutes apart, but they sounded a little further off. And so Friday came around, and I was ready to get the hell out of there. But so I went to a little dine-in that was close by called Robo's, drive-in diner called Robo's, and I talked to some old timers there. I just got my food, and I went over and I sat down. I struck up a conversation with him. I was like, "Listen, fellas," I said, "I've been up here working these past 2 weeks." I said, "I'm going home today." I said, "I seen something Wednesday," and I said, "I'm not sure." I said, "I'm pretty sure I know what it is," but I said, "I just want to see if y'all have ever seen or heard anything like this." So I showed them the picture first, and then I let them listen to the sounds, and I showed them the tracking way video, and they just kind of all looked at each other, and they said, "That's a devil monkey." And that term has stuck with me since 2020. I mean, that's something you just don't hear, devil monkeys. And I'm just like, so that's Bigfoot. And they's like, yeah, devil monkeys, mountain giants, wood boogers, all that stuff. It's the same thing. So,
Wow.
And then, after that encounter, I stopped deer hunting. And actually, this past Thanksgiving was the first time that I went back deer hunting since, 2019 season. And I'm just like,
wow.
It had a big impact on me. I loved hunting and fishing. I loved the outdoors.
Yeah.
And, I went back deer hunting this past Thanksgiving, and I mustered up what I thought was a fear of these creatures. And now, December 7th, that's when I started my research. And December 14th was when I had my second encounter with one of these creatures. Well, several of them. I was surrounded by 3.
Whoa.
Wow.
We'll get to that in a second, but the first encounter, I mean, he was just off at a distance, just watching you. He didn't, charge you or bluff charge you or anything.
How far away was he? Did you?
It's probably 70, 75 yards away from me. I mean, it was too close for me of what I thought at the first time. I mean, he was watching me. It wanted me to see it, because if it didn't make those growlish and grunt noises, I would have never seen it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow.
That's my honest personal opinion. If it didn't make those noises, I would have never have seen it, and I probably wouldn't even be doing this today.
What was the coloring on it?
It looked black from the distance it was, but I actually had somebody run that photograph through some software on our computer, and it was actually reddish brown. The shadows of the brush that was around it made it look black, but it was actually reddish brown.
Interesting.
Okay. So all these years I thought it was black, and lo and behold, it was reddish brown the whole time.
Wow. Was that one of the pictures that you sent me?
I believe I sent that one to you. Yes, because there was somebody done like the circle image, like it does a circle and then it pulls it up and makes it bigger. I think I may not have sent it.
I think this could be it. Hang on one second. Let me share screen here.
No, that's not it.
Okay. Well,
it's up on a cliff face, and that's some of my more recent stuff that I've had.
Whoops. Okay. Let me. I want to play this other vocalization here.
Yeah, the other two aren't as really clear, but you can still kind of hear them.
They're both about 2 minutes long. I'm gonna do the third one because that one seemed like it was a little bit had a little bit more. So here it is right here.
Goosebumps every time.
He sounds lonely or sad or something.
That's what I thought too. But somebody when they ran it through the spectral analysis showed it was different creatures.
Wow.
So this was multiple?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here I think I found that one.
Yes, that one. Yeah. can't really. Yeah, you can kind of see along like the outline of it. You can kind of see how it's kind of like a reddish brown tint to it.
Yeah, and you see it kind of looking out from.
Yeah.
Peeking around. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
And
That
that
is
was
my
your
money
first.
shot. Do what?
And that was your first encounter. That was the first one.
Yep. That was the first one.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna. Yep.
Yeah.
Good mind. Like,
You used a iPhone 8 on this one,
Yep.
correct?
iPhone 8 Plus.
Yeah,
Yep.
iPhone 8. Yeah. On the vocalizations.
Yep.
Okay.
It wouldn't let me access my camera, so I just had to go to the voice memos and use the voice recording, and I had it propped up on a high spot to where it was facing the speakers was facing out, and I recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know that's pretty quick thinking. I mean,
well, I knew if I did, it kind of backfired on me because I figured if I had all this stuff, I had friends and family, that would probably believe me,
mm-hmm.
and I got the most ridicule that I would ever face in my life. And, I don't really get along much anymore with my family. They think I'm the crazy person. Even though I had a picture of this thing, I found the tracks and I had video of the tracks and I had the vocalizations. And they were telling me everything else other than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the outlaw of the family.
Pancho's got another question.
Yeah. Was there a precursor sounds, rock clacking or wood knocks?
Not to my knowledge that I could remember. I could just hear the howls and the wails and any of the other vocalizations. I didn't know what else to really listen for whenever I had this encounter. So, I mean, everything was just happening so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And now here I am 3 years later, and now I kind of have an idea of what to look for more and listen for more.
Yeah. Here's another picture of one of the X's that you sent me.
Yep. The tree that is going from the left to the right, it's actually broken, and they've got it jabbed into the ground. So they brought that tree in from another area, and I've scoured that place over trying to find a stump for where this thing was broken, and I have not found it.
Wow.
So
how tall are those trees? I mean, they look to be pretty big.
I was thinking 25, 30 feet maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. I have no idea. They're huge. I know that much.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned earlier that you were out yesterday.
Yes.
Was this from yesterday?
No. That's not from yesterday. That's from back in April.
Okay.
Beginning of April into March, somewhere around there. That was found here. I found that yesterday. To my knowledge, bears don't have 3 toes. But I was thinking it's a dogman, but I've never found dogman tracks, so I kind of asked around because I'm a member of the North American Dogman Project, and I haven't heard anything back from anybody yet. So I'm kind of thinking it's a dogman track.
So what do you think?
I'm not sure.
Well.
Huh. And this was yesterday. That's pretty cool.
It's something. I don't know what, but it's something.
Do you moisturize?
Moisturize what? My skin?
Your hand.
Nah.
Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
Nah, I don't do none of that stuff. My wife, she does all that fancy stuff. I don't. I got working hands. I got calluses and everything.
Yeah. So let's talk about what all happened yesterday. You went out and you had some stuff yesterday happen.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine named Tom, Blue Ridge Bigfoot on YouTube. He went with me. He actually done some work with Monster Quest, Bigfoot in New York. And we went out. We got out there about 7:35, and we walked along the trail, and we find there was an arch that I had found on New Year's Eve, and it has been it was up this whole time, and then yesterday when we went in there, the arch was actually broken. There was a twist break about halfway. It was in the middle of the arch where it peaked and it went back down. There was a twist break, and the arch was broke. And So the tree that was actually holding the arch in place was stowed away. So the tree that was holding the arch in place was propped up into another tree, and they pushed it out. And so we would get to walking along through there some more, and then we find that potential dogman track, and we go across this creek. And we're working our way up, and it's a pretty straight shot. There really wasn't any brush in the trail, and until we get to this one area, and there was an X made out of brush. Yes, that's the arch I was just talking about. But we get up, and there's an X made out of brush in the trail, and Tom asked me, "Do you want to go past that?" He's like, "That's kind of a sign you don't need to go past that." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I'll go past it." He said, "I'll stay right here then." So I go past it, and right as soon as I go past this X marker in the trail, I found a 16-inch track. It's 10 inches across at the toes. It has 7.5-inch heel. I've got the 3D. I ended up 3D scanning it. I'm going to try to cast it tomorrow because the big toe is just perfect, and you can see the indentation of where this thing's weight just pushed into the ground. So I'm going to try and cast it tomorrow. I've got my casting stuff ready. I got a gallon of water, and so I'm really hoping I can cast this track tomorrow. So
yeah, no kidding.
We go on up a little bit further, and we decided to come back. So I ended up coming back by myself, and he went to there's a road that leads into a campground. He walked out of the road of the campground, so I went back towards the vehicle to get the vehicle to come back and pick him up. So I ended up walking down a little bit, and I'm filming this, and I get to this area, and I go past where I found this track at, and I'm just standing there, and all of a sudden I heard a thud, like there's this little white thud, and I stopped because it was right beside it, and I'm just like, holy crap. I said, that was a rock or something. There's something enough to make a little weight to where I could hear it. And I just stopped, and I was like, well, what the crap was that? I'm trying to look because the leaves and stuff, I couldn't see what it was that was thrown. And so I radioed over to Tom. I was like, hey, I just had something thrown at me. He said, all right, just hold on. I'm coming back to you. So he's on down the road a little bit, and he comes back on this trail that I'm on. And we're walking, he's walking up towards me to meet me. And all of a sudden, I'm just standing here looking. I just had this feeling I was being watched. And then there was a bigger thud to my left. And it went, doof, doof. This rock bounced like 2 or 3 times. And I'm just like, holy crap. It was right there to my left because, like, when I heard it, I got it on video, and I was like, what the heck was that? And it was right there. And he comes up and he starts to meet me. I was like, well, something was just thrown. I did not move from where I was at because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I ended up going over. I radioed over to him. I said, see if you can see anything right there where there was something thrown right there. And he must not have heard me. And so I walked over there after he'd done past it, and I go over there and I find it. It's a pretty good sized rock that could fit in my hand. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I said, this is what they threw at me. He's like, yeah, they're trying to get us out of here, ain't they? I was like, yeah. So that's probably our sign to go. And we start working our way back out. And he ends up going back to the little highway that led up to the campground, and he started walking on back down. And so I decided to just head around and go to the vehicle. And you know, there was a wake-up call for me. You know, I've never had anything thrown yet, but that was a pretty intense kind of moment. I mean, even though I didn't see one, you know, they were right there throwing rocks at me.
Gotcha.
How far away do you think were they from where they threw that rock?
It's untelling. I mean, they're pretty precise on their throwing. I give them that because I'm sure if they wanted to hit me, they probably could have.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, that one rock, the biggest rock that was thrown was 10, 15 feet away from me. I mean, and then the smaller one was probably 2 feet away from me. I mean, it was right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to have that video edited and posted hopefully by Monday. So,
wow.
And here, let's, I'm going to put your YouTube channel. There's his YouTube channel. You put all your videos and stuff on there, and people can see them, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Go check that out. Make sure you subscribe to Harley's channel too. Some great stuff on there. Great stuff on there. Yeah. Roger Blair, has Harley ever seen any other cryptids in the area or just Bigfoot?
Yeah, January 29th, further up on the mountain. Because the first time I ever went that far, I had an encounter with a dogman. That was a wake up call. You know that there's other things out there besides Bigfoot. That was a very, very scary encounter. But this was the area that Scott Carpenter actually stopped doing his field research. So I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to walk around on these grounds that he did.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. So were you a believer in dogman, after your Bigfoot?
Well, I mean, I was open to it until I had that encounter with it. I was like, well, it's not too far fetched. I know Bigfoot are real, so
right.
dogman could be a possibility, and then I had that encounter with it. Oh, that was a very, very scary encounter, and I almost stopped doing this. I really about stopped, and I'm like, I'm on a mission, and I'm gonna do it. I'm trying to raise awareness that these creatures are out here, and there's a lot of people that don't really want the truth getting out, so to speak. Because what happens when the disclosure of these creatures being out here? Well, forestry, lumber businesses are going to go down, tourism, people being let in the national parks, that's not going to happen anymore. So, they kind of keep this all under wraps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where all do you do your research at? Is it just one particular area, or do you go wander around?
So this area that I'm in, it's in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I won't give out this location, because this is kind of special to me, and this is a place that Scott Carpenter used to research, and so I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to be on these grounds, and I've told a select few about this location, but I don't really want it getting out there and people coming in and just running them off, by acting stupid.
Exactly.
You don't go out there hollering and screaming, trying to draw them into you, because that's not going to happen. They're a lot more intelligent and complex than we are. You got to let them come to you.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
When you go out researching, are you armed or anything, or what do you take with you to protect yourself?
So December 14th, when I had my second encounter, I had my handgun with me, and it was on my right-hand side. I actually had my wife with me too. So we went in, and I kind of showed her some things, and we were on our way out, and she stops me. She says, "Look at that. That's like a war movie, something out of a war movie." I'm like, "What?" She said, "That, all them trees that are broken and sticking up out of the ground." I was like, "Okay." So I went over and looked, and I believe it was a blind that the Bigfoot used, and there was a big impression in the leaves where something had been laying in it. So I stepped it off, and it was about 8.5 feet, and I'm like, "Well, that's not a bear. Black bears don't get that big, and something big has been laying right here in between these two trees." So I kind of hear movement, and I catch a glimpse of something. I hollered at my wife. I said, "Stay right there on the main trail." I said, "I'll come back." I said, if I start screaming, I said, "Run." So I'm working a long way back in through there, and I come across a game trail, and it goes left to right. Huge game trail. There's trees that are broken up high, like, just where they've been in there using this game trail. So all of a sudden, I just get this feeling I need to look to my right. And here it is, this big reddish brown Bigfoot, 20, 25 yards away from me. He gets out from behind this tree, and, he crouches down, and he peeps his head out of the bush to look at me, and I can see it. He's got gray skin, he's reddish brown hair, he's got black eyes, he's got some wrinkles up along top of his head, he's got a big blood nose, and he's just sitting there looking at me. He kind of got hair, just almost like just a beard just growing around, and he didn't have like a hair right in here, but had hair most around everywhere else. And I'm just sitting here looking at this thing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And he's sitting there, and he's crouched down, and he's got his head peeping out of the bush looking at me. And all of a sudden, to my left, there was a loud pop and a snap, and then almost instantly right behind me, there was one stomping, just like stomping in place, just doof, 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 doof. And I just like, all right, I'm getting out of here. The funny thing was, I had my weapon on my right-hand side. So I had the Bigfoot in front of me, one to my left, and one behind me.
Wow.
Wow.
So they're a lot more intelligent than what people make them out to be.
What do you think they were doing? Because it sounds like they were surrounding you. What do you think that their motive was?
They were testing me to see what I would do. I think ultimately is what it was, you know, because that's one thing that I've learned. You know, they're trying to figure you out to see what your intentions are. You know, I think they can see the good and the bad in people ultimately, and what the end game is. You know, much like dogs. You know, dogs can sense. You know, if people are good or not. Who's to say that these creatures can?
Yeah.
You know, thank God they don't when they realize somebody isn't a good person. You know, dogs just bark and go crazy. You know, good thing Bigfoot won't do that either. I mean, that could be very, very bad.
Well, I mean, who's to say that they don't? I mean, you know, some people that have these encounters where they're chased off or, you know, bluff charged by these things, you know, they're letting them know, hey, get out of here.
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
very cool.
Keith had an experience. I've been surrounded myself back in 2004. Not a good feeling. No, I can't imagine it was.
Yeah, it's not a very, very, it's a very uneasy feeling, you know, because you have one right there that I could see. And then there was another one to my left. I didn't know where it was. I just heard the pop and the break. And then there was one behind me stomping. I mean, they had me where they wanted me, and they could have gotten me if they wanted to. So I think they were toying with me to see what I would do.
Yeah.
You know, and I did the right thing, and I just backed out of there, and I let them be.
Mm-hmm. Your wife didn't hear anything or see any of this, did she?
She thought that she'd seen something, but she wasn't 100% sure. You know, the only thing that she's seen was like the hunting blind ordeal.
Yeah. Wow.
She's coming around. She's coming around more. You know, she wants to believe in it, but you know, some of the stuff that I've captured from my back trail camera, you know, she's starting to see it now.
Wow.
And Scott Carpenter, man, he figured it out, man. If you're going to get them on camera or anything like that, you're recording behind you. That's the only way to do it, you know, because they're going to try and watch you and see what you're doing. You know, they're very curious.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure they're just as curious about us as we are of them. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to. You sent me, like I said, you sent me a bunch of pictures, and you have a lot of footprints on here.
Yeah, that's actually that was the track that I found the Sunday prior to my first encounter.
Wow.
So that was 4 days before my worldview was shattered by seeing my first Bigfoot.
Wow.
That was the only one that I could really get a good picture of, you know, because you could actually kind of see the toe imprints there, and you know, it shocked me, you know, and now looking back, I'm like, man, I should have got pictures of them other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are from the video. So there was 3 or 4 really good tracks that you could make out from where this thing came across this dried up creek bed. But, you know, I still took pictures of them anyway, and I still videoed them. So that's the only thing I knew of to do, you know, because if I didn't, nobody was going to believe me.
Let me try. I don't think I can enlarge this, Keith. Let me try. No, it's not letting me do that.
I'd say if it wasn't from an iPhone, you probably could.
Well, I don't have it. I just have it on from Facebook Messenger. Let me.
Yeah. I probably should have emailed them to you. That's my
Well.
bad.
Here I can do well.
I probably should have emailed them to you.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But I mean, you have that. Is that's your foot?
Yeah, I have a size 12 boot.
So that's just size 12. So that's easily 16 inches.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, about 16. Yeah, that's kind of a better one. That's you can kind of see the curvature in the foot, and the heel comes down. You can kind of see the toe impressions.
Mm-hmm. And then I got one more here.
Yeah, that one was the least best one out of all of them. But I still took the picture anyway. But the video is kind of sporadic. I'm all worked up and excited. I'm just looking around. I'm just showing everything.
Yeah. But yeah, this one. That's not the one that you were talking about with the real defined big toe, was it?
No.
Okay.
I have I have it on my 3D scanner.
Okay.
I have Polycam. It's a 3D scanner app, and let me tell you, I highly recommend that. If you don't have the casting materials that you need, download Polycam on your iPhone or whatever you use, and you can scan it. You have to take like 20 pictures minimum before it can do a 3D processing and scan it. But let me tell you, it's phenomenal.
Wow.
It's very high tech and it is crazy because you can actually measure it with the app. So I took the measurements of the track on the app, and it was 16 inches by 10 inches by 7.5 at the heel.
Wow.
It's crazy, man, how far technology has come.
Oh, no kidding. I'm trying to look through some of your other pictures that you sent me. Hang on a second. Here's one.
Yeah, that is actually that came from December 17th, and that is actually the same dogman that I had an encounter with on January 29th.
Really?
I'm almost positive it is, because whenever I seen that, and then when I seen it in person, it was eerily similar. Because that was from my back trail camera. And then whenever I looked at that, and then I was kind of going back thinking about the dogman, and I was just like, that's the same one. Because where I had my encounter at was further on up the mountain. This was down in the valley where I got it on film.
Nice.
And that ain't a bear. It's not a bear. No. Ever since I've been in this area, I have not found any bear tracks, any bear poop, any signs of bears being in this area at all. And it's the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. There should be bears everywhere.
Right.
I believe that's another possible dog, man. He's kind of sitting there in the brush. You can kind of see that. I hate that it's kind of not zoomed in there, but that I'll probably have to email them to you, and we can do another show, and we can make it work out better.
Yeah. I should have put it in a different program to where I could actually zoom in on the picture a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't have Photoshop. You got to pay monthly for that, and I'm cheap, so.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You know what? Let me tell you the easiest way to do it, how I do all my pictures. Take it on your phone, screenshot it, and then you can crop it and make it bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And then add it on the StreamYard itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Should have done that.
Yeah, because someone on a phone, those would be hard to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, these are awesome.
But you know what you can do, Paul? You can post them on your group on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll put them on there.
A little better.
Yeah, there you go. Post them on the group on Facebook. Yeah, and if anybody on here, if you're looking to join a Facebook group, that you're not going to deal with any other ridicule or nothing like that. If you want to get your encounter off your chest, feel free to join my Facebook group, Bigfoot Reports and Data. It's a growing community, and I have a great admin team and moderators. We don't tolerate any of the BS, so it's a safe place.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what people need. I mean, a lot of people, it's therapy for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of these other bigger groups, they make a mockery of it. It's not, like these ones. It's like the Bigfoot Believers or something like that. They have like 80,000 members, and they're there's always these people in the comments, oh, they're not real. It's like, it should be the Bigfoot non-believers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna go find your link on your Facebook page. There it is. So here's his Facebook group page. That is Bigfoot Reports and Data on the Facebook page.
Yep.
Any of your scans show dermal ridges?
Yes, there is one on the track that I scanned yesterday. About halfway up on the track, you can see where the dermal ridge is. Yes, mid-tarsal break, where whatever they want to call it, mid-tarsal break.
Wow.
I just went and joined, I requested to join your group on Facebook.
All right. I'm sure one of my admins got Daryl Denton in there, Martin Groves, Barton Nunnelly. Everybody's in there. So I'm really fortunate and blessed to be friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Barton talk just about every day, and so does me and Daryl. So they
Barton is a very, very good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I know Daryl well too.
Yeah, they're great guys, and they kind of took me under their wing. So,
yep.
I was just going to ask you that. Did they help you out in the beginning, or when you first started doing this?
Yeah. Daryl's helped me out quite a bit. And I just recently kind of got in touch with Barton from Catherine Gray. I'm sure she's here in the comments somewhere. Yes,
Yep,
yes, she is, Miss Catherine. You were awesome, Catherine. Yes, Miss Catherine got me in touch with Barton, so I can't thank her enough.
That's awesome. So where else have you gone to investigate?
I actually thought about starting to go in Cades Cove because there's been a lot of stuff happening up in near Cades Cove. I don't know if you know where that's at.
Oh yeah, that's in Smoky Mountains in there.
Yeah.
Been there many times actually.
Yeah, it's about an hour from where I live. I live closer up towards Bristol. Newport, Tennessee is where I live. So
yeah,
right on the North Carolina line almost.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
How many encounters have you had altogether with Bigfoot and dogmen there?
I've had 3 Bigfoot encounters. My last encounter was January 7th. I had my good friend George Lunsford with me. He's an author. He has a podcast, North Carolina Investigates. So I did not expect us to have this encounter. It kind of just happened. So I invited them up. George Lunsford, Robert Effler, they live in North Carolina, about an hour away from me. So I invited them to come up, check out this area that I had been in for a month. Literally, January 7th marked a month of me doing field research. So I invited them up, and they came up. And we're walking around. I'm showing them all these structures and stuff that I found, and we're walking around and we're looking. And this was before I had the Polycam app and all that. And, it was starting to sleet and rain and snow mix on us a little bit. And we're walking around, we're looking, we're finding fresh breaks, these fresh twist breaks from the trees and stuff. And I'm like, something's going to happen today. I was like, something just seems off in here. So we're walking around looking, we start working our way back. And I nudged George on the shoulder. I said, George, let's go down this bottom right here and we'll work our way around this ridge. And I said, we'll come down this valley and we'll come back up. He said, all right. So we had walkies. We stayed in walkie contact with Robert and his wife, Michelle. So we're walking around down in this little hollow right here, and we're coming up on this hillside. And there's a little tiny valley, and then it comes up to this other hill. So we're walking along this cliff right here, and I'm just like, there's something moving over there. And I kind of just look out of my side eye, and I see something black, and it's moving through these laurel trees. Now, if y'all haven't seen any laurel trees, those suckers are thick. And this thing's moving through these laurel trees. And I stopped and I said, George, there he is. He said, Harley, that's a shadow. I said, George, that's a Bigfoot. And I said, stand right here. I said, I'm going to walk towards it. I didn't walk 15 feet. And I stepped on this branch. So it sounded like a shotgun going off. And I looked up to where this thing was at. And George was behind me. This Bigfoot reaches up, props his arm on the tree to keep balance, and he leans out to look for me because he couldn't see me. And all I hear George say was, oh shit. And George comes running past me, and the Bigfoot was done long gone because George was running, he goes past me. I'm just like, well, I guess we're chasing this thing. And we get up there to where he was at, and funny story, we ended up naming this Bigfoot Alfalfa because from the sleet and the rain and stuff, his hair, he had a little bit of hair just sticking up on top of his head. So we get up there to where it was standing at, and we're looking right there in the moss at the bottom of the tree, and there's 3 perfect toes. The three toes in the middle were just perfect in the moss, and the pinky toe was just a slight impression, and so was the big toe. So we're looking around for the direction that this guy went. So we're looking, and there's like a funnel in these laurel trees from where this thing had went through. So we're going up and through here trying to keep up with this thing to see if we could get back on its trail. And Robert radioed over to us. He said, what in the world are y'all doing? he said, it sounds like there's a bulldozer coming through the woods. And we're like, there's a Bigfoot. He's coming towards you. So all of a sudden he radios back over to us. He said, whatever it was stopped. And Robert, he was dressed in all camo. He goes all out. He dresses in all camo. He was just waiting there. He said he was hoping because there a bunch of crows just came flying out. There was about 4 or 5 crows just flew out right in front of him. And we're pushing through this thick, and it didn't look as thick as what it was. And if that thing wanted to, he could have got us. But I think what happened was, from where it's so thick, he just cut back around and went in behind us and just watched us go by. Because in them laurel trees, if you haven't been around them or even seen them, those trees are so thick. Laurel trees, laurel bushes, I mean, they're the same thing. So it was a very interesting encounter, and I'm very fortunate to have had George with me, and make that encounter happen. And let me tell you, hearing him tell it, it never gets old. He always talks about it, man. And I'm very thankful and blessed to have the friends that I have made in this community.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said that when you made that step, the Bigfoot just took off. I mean, it was long gone. I mean, the woods they were that thick that you couldn't just run straight through, could you?
No, I mean, right there where I told him to stop. I said, I'm going to go towards it. I didn't walk 10, 15 feet, and I stepped on a branch, and it sounded like a shotgun going off. And George comes running past me because he says, oh, shit, and he sees the Bigfoot leaning out to look at me. And he goes running past me, and it wasn't as thick down in this bottom where we were. It was thicker up there where the Bigfoot was. So we get up there to the tree where he was at, and we found the toe impressions in the moss. But where he went, up in where he went to, was just like a funnel through the brush where he went into. But when we got up into it, it was hard for us to fight our way through. And it's crazy how swift and agile they are through the brush.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is very crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It sounds like you've had some really good luck in a very short period of time researching these.
Yes, and and there's a lot of people that we really question that, and if you put in the time and effort, it's bound to happen, and these things they're not going to stay hidden forever, if they have a sense of they can trust you, they'll show themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're more human than what we make them out to be. Mm-hmm. Some people say they're an ape, but where I stand on my point of view of it, they're a human hybrid. They're Nephilim descendants, not Nephilim. They're not giants. I mean, they're Nephilim descendants over time. Because the fallen angels, they procreated with human women. Everybody has heard this over and over and over again. But they did all this gene manipulation and stuff, and that's where I think the dogman and all these other man-like cryptids come into play.
Right.
Yeah. And you're having all these experiences in and around Tennessee, real close to the Smoky Mountains, correct?
Yes, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Yeah.
Huh. How often do you get there?
I go out 2 or 3 times a week.
Gotcha. So
I go hike for about 5 or 6 hours. So yesterday I went for 5 hours. So tomorrow I'm probably gonna go for 5 or 6. I'm getting out there at 6:30 in the morning. Yesterday I got out there a little later than what I wanted to.
Gotcha.
I got out there at 7:35 yesterday morning.
Wow.
I put a lot of miles on my boots.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, 5 to 6 miles. Wow. Every 2. Wow, that's pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're bound to find something, that way.
I'm dedicated, man. I'm searching for my own answers. I may be wrong, but I like to think that where I stand religiously, and connecting the dots that way. I think that's what has the explanation for all this.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are some Bigfoots that are more evil than others?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, funny you say that because I talked to some wood shop owners recently. They carve out wood carvings and stuff, and they are trying to get me in touch with a guy. I'm not sure where he hikes at, but I know it's close to the area I do my research, but it's further up on the mountain. Apparently, every time this guy goes out, There's a very aggressive group of Bigfoot that always runs him out. Apparently they're very, very aggressive. I think some of them have a watcher status, so to speak. They're trying to possibly gain a chance at redemption, but in God's eyes, they're an abomination. Because the fallen angels, they made them in their image, so they're trying to gain that redemption, so to speak, but they can't. I mean, I'm not saying that they can't, but I mean, nobody knows for certain.
Yeah. Kind of getting back to the casts that you make of the prints that you find. Where do you do with those?
Well, I have not actually been able to cast a
or what will you be doing with those?
I've got them on my Polycam app, so I've got them downloaded on my Polycam.
But once you get them cast, what I mean, you gonna display them all, or what are you gonna show them?
I've thought about it, but when I get to be able to cast some cat tracks that I find, I'm not sure what I'm going to really do with them. I may put them in a museum. I don't know. I don't know yet. I've thought about starting my own little museum here or something, but I don't know. There's so many other ones, and I'm just sitting here like, well, that's too much competition. I'm not a business owner by no means.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly sound like an up and comer and someone who is not just dedicated to doing this, but extremely dedicated to doing this.
I am, man. And one of the biggest things for me is I want to leave a legacy behind for my kids. And I've got this journal right here, and I've got a little note left for my kids, or whoever comes across this, and I've got everything that I've done and everything that I've captured and wrote down, and I'm actually going to start printing out some of the still captures that I have from my backdrop camera. And I just want to leave my kids something, good Lord willing, the world makes it that long, and I just want to leave something along the lines for my family and the generations.
Good deal.
Yeah, it gets a little emotional for me thinking about it. My kids, what my kids end up thinking, well, Dad's crazy. These things aren't real, and I just want to leave something behind for them.
Yeah. And what a great motivation for the kids, and a great role model for them. I mean, seeing somebody this dedicated to doing something, that's no matter what anybody else is doing, you're dedicated to this.
I'm doing it for my kids, and and I want them to have something in life. Look up to me and be like, well, Dad loved doing it. And I just wonder if one of these days, I might mess up and get taken out by one of these things or something. I never know. And I'm just very fortunate and blessed to be able to do this.
Well, let's not think about that.
Well, I'm just saying,
yeah, I know.
You never know. I mean,
You're young.
Yeah. And you're what, 25?
24.
Yeah, you're young.
Yeah.
My kids are older than you, literally.
I'm trying to think the last time I walked 5 or 6 miles.
Right?
Yeah. Looks like here, Lolo subbed to your channel.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. And one more time, here is that's his Facebook group. I'll figure it out.
I have it pulled up. Here, I got it for you.
You got it? Okay. All right.
I'm going to share it under you, though, because it's not on my phone.
Okay.
There we go. It's his YouTube channel again.
There it is.
I appreciate y'all so much.
YouTube channel and all kinds of great stuff on there. I mean, you saw just a little bit of what he sent me. It's just incredible. And those recordings that you had, what am I trying to say? The sound recordings.
Audio.
Thank you. Vocalizations. Thank you. That's the word.
There you go.
I mean, those are incredible. I mean,
I knew if I didn't record those, nobody was going to believe me. I did everything right that I should have done, and I did it. And it's got me on this wild journey now, and it's been 6-7 months now since I started my research, December 7th, and I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to enjoy God's country and just try to uncover this age-old mystery that surrounds us, and I feel like I'm getting close, but I don't know. I like to think I'm getting closer every time, but then a curveball comes, so it's just always something different, man.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be perfect every single time. I mean, you're gonna have So
Right.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Harley, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing a lot of this stuff with us. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I look forward to hopefully coming back on your show in the future, and I will definitely be in touch with y'all. And I can't thank everybody enough for tuning in tonight. Be sure to subscribe to Paul's channel.
Thank you.
You can see Krista on BMR and here and just everywhere else as well. And God is good, everybody.
Krista's on just about every other podcast.
I do 6 shows a week.
Oh cow!
I'm on with Barton too, on his show.
Oh yeah, you do one with Bart. That is right. Yes, you do. Yeah.
Two of her own shows, Bart, BMR, and me. Yeah.
Yep.
Busybody.
Yeah. She's a popular person.
6 a week.
Wow.
Wow.
Nope.
Yep.
Thank you, Lolo.
So, all right. Again, Harley, thank you so much for taking the time on your Saturday to come join us and share your findings with us.
Yes, sir. Not a problem at all. I look forward to part 2 soon, hopefully.
And definitely. We'll have you on. Have you on again. And I mean, hell, if you keep finding awesome stuff like that, I'll have you on every week.
It never fails. Every time I go out there, I always find something new and interesting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. It was great seeing you again.
It's good seeing you again, Krista.
Yeah. And make sure that you subscribe to Harley's YouTube channel. We've had it up a couple times. It's in the chat as well. So make sure you head on over there. Blondes and Booze podcast. Make sure you subscribe to them and all kinds of other good ones too. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. You guys are doing a late night with BMR tonight, right?
Yep. That'll come on 11 p.m. Central Time, midnight in the East. And and then somebody asked, Lolo asked when PRT comes on tonight. He usually comes on about 8:30, I think. And I don't know if Josh is doing Rumble tonight or if he's doing YouTube. I'm not sure.
I haven't gotten any notifications on
his
yet. So I usually get them on both for Rumble and YouTube. So. But I usually clear out here before I try before he comes on. So he's usually on about
tonight with BMR, and it's BMR, Brandy. I think Monica's on tonight, and Tex.
Awesome.
I'll be in the chat tonight.
All right, awesome. I'll try and stay awake. I'm off, so why not?
There you go.
All right, everybody, have a great night. We will see you next Saturday.
Yep.
See y'all.
Right, hang on. Let me get to this. I always get ahead of myself. All right. Good night, everybody.